Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with Trek. Big shout out to every single person that is tapping in, man. Major shout out to all the members and everybody in the chat. Per usual, I have a handful of interesting and creepy videos that I found from all around the internet. If you haven't already, go and smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button, and join the iTrack fam. Stay up to date with the latest and greatest. Now let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
Dictionary.com might be single-handedly destroying society. They just announced their word of the year for 2025, and it's way worse than you think. You guys still got 2 months left, you know that? You sure you don't want to think this one over? Every year, they announce a specific word that captures the cultural spirit for that year. There's dozens of these word of the year lists out there, chosen by the likes of Oxford, Cambridge Dictionary, Merriam-Webster, the whole gang. But Dictionary.com, these guys are doubling down on the brain rot, and they're straight up admitting it. Because their word for 2025 isn't even a word, it's 6-7. Like the number, not even spelled out as a word. 6-7. Well, that was a good run. This might officially be the end of that meme or whatever it was. Never mind it not even being a word. Words also need a definition, but according to dictionary.com, 6-7 is impossible to define. But if you thought they were done, just listen to what the runner-up words for 2025 were. We had aura farming, broligarchy, clanker, which is probably going to be offensive in a few years, the dynamite emoji, which also isn't a word, Gen Z stare, kiss cam, over tourism, tariff, and tradwife, short for traditional wife. I'm honestly just shocked type shit wasn't on that list. Maybe 2026 is its year. But bro, if these are the types of words we're going to be adding into our formal vocabulary every year, then brain rot might just be the official world language of the New World Order or whatever's coming next. Idiocracy really was right about everything.
Man, I've never one time used 6-7 in a sentence. Like never. Like I've never even met a person that's 6-7. So, I mean, I really don't know what to do all that. But if you've used it in a sentence, drop it in the comments. Let me know how you use 6-7 in a sentence and without referring to it as a height.
China's coming out with a $40,000 car. It has like 450 miles of range, headlights of a McLaren and the body of the Purosangue Ferrari, and it has like 1,400 horsepower. It's crazy. Like, it's no wonder that it's not allowed to sell these products in the US because none of our companies would compete. They are so much more advanced.
PlayStation want to say Trump, we salute you. They have always known about Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, it's not as simple as just changing the clocks. Walk us through what actually happens to our bodies when the time changes.
So there's lots of different clocks, not just in your brain, but all throughout your body. And these clocks operate on rhythms that control everything from our blood pressure and heart rate to our metabolism to our immune system. And just like with jet lag, when our internal clock no longer matches the time in the external clock, then it creates some disruption that sometimes takes a little bit of time to resolve and get back in sync.
People who survived the impossible, Part 3. A 42-year-old Russian fisherman was viciously attacked by a brown bear in 2014, but he was spared when the ringtone his granddaughter installed onto his phone suddenly went off. Justin Bieber's song Baby miraculously sent the bear running back into the woods like a bitch. Titanic survivor Dick Williams spent over 6 hours waist deep in freezing waters before being rescued. Doctors wanted to amputate both of his legs, but he refused because he wanted to continue playing tennis. He made a full recovery and went on to become a US tennis champion in mixed doubles. In 2014, 3-year-old Karina Chikatova survived in the Siberian wilderness for 11 days with nobody other than her dog. She ate wild berries, drank from a river, and curled up with her dog for warmth. She was saved when her dog managed to find her village and guide rescuers toward her. In 1915, Mexican man Wenceslao Moguel was sentenced to execution and shot 9 times by a firing squad. But he managed to survive every shot, including the coup de grace, a final shot to the head at point-blank range to ensure death. He went on to live for another 70 years, finally dying in 1976.
Tell me that you're determined to live without telling me that you're determined to live, right? That's crazy.
Before May 6, 1954, it was universally accepted that the human body simply could not run a mile in less than 4 minutes. But But then Roger Bannister, a 25-year-old medical student, made history by running a mile in 3 minutes and 59 seconds. Then, within a span of just a few years, numerous other athletes broke the 4-minute barrier as well. Not just a record was broken by Roger Bannister's sprint, but a psychological barrier as well. And suddenly, the impossible became possible. We all have our own 4-minute mile, the thing that feels impossible until we see someone else do it. This is why it's so important to surround ourselves with others who are ahead of us. Befriend other people who are succeeding at the things that you want to succeed at, and suddenly the impossible feels possible.
Is rap music really dying? For the first time in over 35 years, not one single rap song has made the top 40 of Billboard's Hot 100. Just think about that. Every single week since 1990, which is almost 2,000 weeks in a row, a rap song has made it into the top 40 until today. History once again. Now there's two main reasons for this. One, which you'll hear unks in the comments saying, they don't make music like they used to. But secondly, Billboard recently made a rule change which removes songs if they are too old. Therefore, the last one hanging on, Luther by Kendrick, was recently taken out back. But I guess even that is beside the point, because what happened to all the music released in 2025? So the question has to be asked, is rap music dying, or is it just one bad year?
Or maybe Drake really did expose how these record labels manipulate the streams. I think that might have a lot to do with it.
You still completely convinced that this is a simulation?
I didn't say I was completely convinced.
Well, you said it's like the odds of it not being are in the billions. Well, I guess that's not completely, because you're saying there's a chance.
What are the odds that we're in base reality?
There's a building in Los Feliz with no visible front door, housing a library of 50,000 rare occult books, founded by a man who wrote a 300,000-word encyclopedia of secret wisdom when he was only 27 years old. Now, in my last videos, I covered a bunch of other orders and mystery schools, so if you're into that, make sure you go and check those out. But today, we are looking at the Philosophical Research Society in Los Angeles. It was founded in 1934 by Manly P. Hall. Now, Hall was a self-educated writer who moved to LA as a teenager. At 18, he became a minister, but left at 20 to study ancient texts, philosophy, and esoteric traditions full-time. Now, in 1928, at age 27, he published The Secret Teachings of All Ages, a massive encyclopedia covering Masonic symbolism, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, alchemy, tarot, and all other world religions. Over 300,000 words in this book with elaborate mystical illustrations too. It's never been out of print and has sold over 1 million copies. Now, with wealthy patrons funding his work, Hall founded PRS in 1934 on Los Feliz Boulevard. The campus was designed in Mayan and modern styles and is now a Los Angeles historic site. It includes an auditorium where Hall delivered over 7,000 lectures, a bookstore, a gallery, and a world-class research library with over 50,000 rare volumes of esoteric and metaphysical texts. Now, the library vault contains some of the rarest spiritual books in the world. The original printing plates of the Secret Teachings of All Ages, ancient grimoires, alchemical manuscripts, rare Rosicrucian texts, and all other esoteric materials that you can't find anywhere else. Now, what's unique about Hall is he never tried to become a guru or start a cult. He just lectured, wrote, researched, and maintained PRS as a public educational institution. He advised people to take all spiritual teachings with common sense and humor, even his own. Now, the campus is still open Tuesday through Friday. You can visit the bookstore, attend lectures and concerts, take classes on mythology and metaphysics, and if you're a member, access the library. The place has been a meeting point for artists, philosophers, and seekers in LA for over 90 years now. So, yeah, a historic campus in Los Feliz preserving rare occult knowledge founded by a guy who wrote the Encyclopedia of Western Esotericism before he turned 30 is still out there today. Now, if you want to learn more about modern-day mystery schools and esoteric institutions like these, make sure to like the video, let me know what you think about PRS in the comments below, and follow for more deep dives into groups like this. Until next time.
Hey, those mystery schools are a hot topic. I mean, if you know, you know.
When you die, you wake up, and it's almost like a dream. You wake up and you're like, okay, that was just a dream. This is who I am. But you're not I don't think you're like a human form, right? I think like when you wake up, but when you wake up, you are just like one with all. I think that the people that we lose, their spirits are always with us, with who they were in that time and how they influenced us in our life. Because I truly believe that the soul leaves your body and goes into another plane of existence of the energy, and they decide when they want to come back and learn something else.
Okay. Nobody knows
No
what
one
happens.
really knows.
Nobody knows when you die. Nobody knows what happens when you die.
But I know that mediums, one in particular that I trust, that didn't pay anything to, by the way, who was it was the mom of a girl that I used to date. So like fully trusting. She wasn't getting anything from me. It was just a conversation. And she was talking to me, but talking like behind me. She wasn't looking at me. And she's like, yeah, I'm talking to your spirits. You have spirits who are with you. And they're telling me about like your past lives. These are ancestors, not from your family lineage, from your soul's lineage.
I believe, like I said, energy, spirits even. I don't know. I'm a little iffy on that too. But as for mediums and people being able to communicate with the dead.
There's way too much evidence for all that stuff.
No. You've been watching Ghost Hunters, man.
No, I'm not watching Ghost Hunters. But I mean, yeah, it's crazy today because you can't tell what's real and not with AI. Anyway. Yeah. So it's like with all the UFO videos, it's like I can't even watch this anymore because my first thought is, how would I make this on the computer?
I feel like a lot of life can be explained just depending on where you look. You know, if you're trying to dig deep into like UAPs and UFOs, you might want to look in the direction of DARPA. You know, spirituality and, you know, what's going on within. You might want to look at some of the greatest teachers, spiritual teachers. So there's a lot, you know, going on in life just depending on where you're looking at.
Remember this, nobody will play the victim more than the person that actually caused the damage.
Soon as you say the devil's responsible, all bets are off. I don't believe in the devil, no hell. So I'm not even religious at this point. Many of the cases we've investigated where people felt really scared was nothing paranormal at all, because they were so into believing this stuff, whether it's religious or pop culture, they interpreted it as demonic.
Apparently the entire city of Dubai is filled with abandoned supercars, like this $500,000 Lamborghini, $2 million Bugattis, and this $3 million Ferrari. And you might think it's because people are just so rich there they forget about them. But it's actually the exact opposite, because in Dubai it's illegal to go bankrupt or miss payments, and if you do you could face 5 years in jail. So when people try and live the rich life and fail, they just leave the cars, then leave the country and never go back. And they're left abandoned for so long because they have to sit for at least 6 months before the government can take them and auction them off for barely anything, or they're just given to the police. So don't go broke in Dubai.
Now if that was going on in the US, boy, half the population would be doing time. Don't lie.
They're celebrities with strange body parts. So Harry Styles openly claims 2 extra nipples that sit below his pecs, a rarity that less than 1% of people have, and model Karolina Kurkova was born with no belly button and is typically photoshopped onto her photographs by editors to conceal it. Vince Vaughn is missing the end of his right thumb as a result of a car crash when he was 17, and Matthew Perry has a large portion of his middle finger missing from a door accident when he was younger. Kesha was born with a 1/4-inch vestigial tail that was cut off by doctors, and Gemma Arterton from Bond was born with 2 extra fingers but also had them removed when she was a baby. Bollywood actor Rithik Roshan has 2 thumbs on his right hand and claims it to be good luck so we'd never get it removed, while Megan Fox has club thumbs in which the end bone is shorter and rounder than the average. Kate Bosworth, Max Scherzer, and Mila Kunis all have heterochromia in which they have 2 different eye colors, and finally, Andy Garcia was born with an undeveloped conjoined twin attached to his shoulder that had to get removed when he was a child, for which he still has a scar to this day to show for it. Pretty cool, right?
Everything seemed to be pretty normal except for the no belly button thing. I mean, how does one get fed without an umbilical cord? Definitely enlighten me in the comments.
Some crazy things happening in the world right now. An asteroid earlier this month passed over Antarctica just 100 miles above it. Nobody on Earth realized that this happened until after it happened. That's terrifying. A Catholic university in Australia was caught using AI to wrongly accuse students of cheating with AI. This resulted in some students not receiving graduate positions because it took over 6 months to clear their accusations. A flight in Europe was diverted after 2 passengers were arrested. One of them was eating pages of their own passport, and the other flushed his down a toilet. Americans are using PTO to sleep, not for vacation, a new report just came out. SpaceX built an escape system that could save astronauts in seconds. It's basically a giant slide that accelerates the astronaut up to 400 miles per hour to get into safety. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. The Breaking Bad star Raymond Cruz was arrested after spraying his neighbor's child with a garden hose while washing his car.
About the girl who was cleaning the grave. She would just go online and just clean up graves and all this. A lot of people think that she kind of crossed the line because one day she had seen a child's grave with teddy bears and so she took all the teddy bears home to wash them at her house to make them look brand new. After she did that video, like a lot of people start noticing a lot of weird shit in her videos. Like there's a shovel that's like stuck in the ground, right? Mind you, her hair is not moving, her clothes aren't winding, and you see the shovel moving like this. Back and forth like this. And
Mind you, it's dug in the ground.
And then after that video, she hasn't done another like grave cleaning video ever since then.
Hollywood exists because Thomas Edison was a dick. Have you ever stopped to wonder why the American entertainment industry is largely based in Southern California? The obvious answer is that the weather is nice there most of the year, but the dawn of cinema in the US actually happened on the East Coast in New York and New Jersey. You see, in 1891, inventor Thomas Edison was at the forefront of moving image technology. He patented an early camera known as the kinetograph and a viewer called the kinetoscope. 2 years later, he opened the country's first movie studio, Black Maria, in West Orange, New Jersey, where he'd produced nearly 1,200 films. But Edison didn't want anyone competing with his new movie technology, so he formed an alliance with other film patent owners called the Motion Picture Patents Company, also known as the Trust. They owned the process of motion picture processing and projection equipment, and together they charged high licensing fees to independent filmmakers to use their patents. And if you didn't fall in line, Edison would bury you in copyright infringement lawsuits. So a number of those independent filmmakers thought, screw this, we'll go where Edison can't get to us. And they fled to the West Coast, far away from Edison's sphere of influence. Cross-continental communication was a lot slower at the time, so it was harder for Edison to track them down. Many of those filmmakers then settled in the newly established town of Hollywood, which was originally a religious community, hence the name. And Edison did try to keep suing them, but in 1915 the Supreme Court ruled against him, saying he could no longer use his patents to thwart rival filmmakers.
Here's some fun things you probably didn't know. Wi-Fi doesn't stand for anything, it's just a made-up brand name. Apple's first logo showed Isaac Newton sitting under a tree. The first digital photo was taken in 1957. It was a picture of a baby's face. And Google's original name was Backrub.
Tom Cruise's religion apparently forced members to build him this luxury motorcycle. Here's how. Because you and me love Tom, but it wasn't always this way. Because back in the 80s, his movies aren't great and his reputation struggles, so his career's about to end. But then something magical happens. Tom discovers Scientology, which forms this symbiotic relationship. But Tom gives Scientology legitimacy and millions of dollars in free publicity, so now Tom's their #1 asset. Except that means Tom can't leave or it'll destroy the church, so apparently they give him all kinds of perks and shower him with praise. So Tom stays and ends up becoming a superstar, which helps the church, who then give him more perks. Except that's a problem because the perks need to keep getting bigger or Tom might leave. So allegedly, the church goes to this member, who's a world-class motorcycle artist, and tell him to create Tom's bike, which he listens to because it's for the church. But then he escapes and reveals the truth. He worked 100-hour weeks and got paid nothing, while these guys apparently made millions.
And you know, the stories that continue to come out about Scientology, pretty mind-blowing, pretty creepy.
Spectacle, because that's what sells. But what if you could sell your music whether it was good or not? That's the case for level 4, the Nepo baby. These artists were industry before they were even artists. They grew up in recording studios, they had dinner with label executives, got babysat by other pop stars. They'll talk about their journey, their struggle, their grind, but they had access to producers, writers, studios, nannies. They could fail as much as they want and still get another shot. The Nepo baby has mommy and daddy to give them every opportunity they need. Failure is not possible. Willow and Jaden Smith were destined before they were even born. Willow dropped Whip My Hair at 10 years old on Rock Nation. And then she got to quit music because it was too much pressure. Then she got to come back whenever she felt like it. She could experiment with rock and indie, whatever sound she wanted because, failing had no consequence. Then you got Blue Ivy. Now, she did a good job voice acting on Mufasa, but should she really have a Grammy?
Blue, congratulations, you won a Grammy tonight. I'm so proud of you.
When your mom is Beyonce, it don't matter what should be, it just is. Now, the next Nepo baby might surprise some of you guys, but yes, Drake is a Nepo baby. The most talented one for sure, but if you don't believe me, I think it's time that we actually meet the Grahams. So, his dad, Dennis Graham, was a drummer who worked with Jerry Lee Lewis. Jerry Lee Lewis was one of the pioneers for rock and roll. Then you got his uncle, Larry Graham, who was a singer himself, and he was a bass player for Sly and the Family Stone, one of the most famous funk groups of all time. And then you got his other uncle, Teenie Hodges, who was a songwriter and guitar player for Al Green. Drake was playing on Degrassi and making $50 grand a year when he was a teenager. When that ended, he had money and connections that could fund his own mixtapes. Now, starting from the bottom is great branding, but the bottom was middle class with industry connections. But the most successful and possibly the saddest of them all is level 5, the super plant. The super plant is as close to a robot as you can get. They don't write their own music, they don't choose their image, they don't control their social media. They show up, perform the role they've been given, and then they just collect a percentage. Most of them started from childhood and have even been put through development programs. There's people that control what they eat, control what they say. They'll pretend to date somebody just because it's good for their image. Their whole life becomes content. And sadly, they're the ones that usually have the most trauma and depression and mental health issues. Britney Spears is probably the most tragic example of the super plant. When Britney was on the Mickey Mouse Club, it was basically an all-star training camp. You had Christina Aguilera, Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling. They were all kids being groomed for stardom. But when Britney signed with Jive Records when she was 15, they created the whole package for her.
Now, if you want to talk about nepotism, that's in every industry of life. Like every single industry you could think of, nepotism somewhere in there. But when we're talking about super plants, if you haven't noticed, the majority of those super plants have crashed all the way out. Isn't pretty what happens at the end.
This joke on live TV became a chilling prediction of murder. Christina's Court was a courtroom show where Judge Cristina Perez handled real disputes. However, one episode became memorable for all the wrong reasons. Comedian Sean Harris appeared to sue his ex-girlfriend for unpaid rent. The case was lighthearted, filled with jokes, until he aimed one at the show's bailiff. When Sean learned Renard had been married for 27 years, he laughed and said,
People in love, they yell at each other all the time.
Oh, that's true. Ask him, he's been married for how long?
Over 27 years.
Over 27
Look at him, though.
years.
He look mad. You don't look happy, brother. You don't look happy.
The audience loved it, and the moment became one of the show's funniest exchanges. But a decade later, in 2019, a sheriff's deputy, Renard Spivey, was charged with murdering his wife, Patricia. This happened after an argument at their home. Police found her body in the closet. Spivey got a 14-year sentence. He will spend the rest of his life in prison for killing the woman he once called his happily married partner.
The irony in that situation was funny, but not that funny. You get what I'm saying? Because somebody lost their life, but how rare and how random.
The rarest thing on Earth is so mysterious that at any given moment, there are only 28 grams of it on our entire planet. To put that into perspective, this is what 28 grams of sugar looks like. And if you were somehow able to collect every single gram of it from all over the world, it would instantly vaporize itself from its own radiation before you could even see it. So how do we even know it exists? In the early 1900s, we had what is known as a missing spot on the periodic table, a halogen that should come after iodine, with the atomic number 85. Between the 1930s and 40s, researchers thought they found element 85 a number of times, giving it a wild variety of names, but the element was so unstable that by the time they analyzed it, it had already decayed, because every single one of its isotopes has a half-life of 1 second or less, meaning that half the atoms in a sample will decay into other elements within 1 second or less, making this element extremely hard to study because it is constantly disappearing. But we finally proved astantine's existence when we created it for the first time in 1940.
If you go to a hospital and get an operation, they're gonna inject your ass with the vaccines whether you ask for it or not. Check it out.
When you go to the hospital, if you need surgery, you need a knee replacement surgery, first they're going to ask you if you've had the vaccine. You're going to say no. Then they're going to say, well, you need to sign this consent. If you're going to have vaccine, if you're going to have surgery, you need to sign a consent. In the consent, there's a word called biogenics. If you sign the consent saying, I consent for you to give me biogenics, that basically means they can give you anything that they deem necessary, including vaccines.
Yeah, so if I need an operation, I'm staying awake.
Period. And I'm not signing nothing.
Imagine signing up for a mystery school in 2025 and learning telepathy, telekinesis, and how to project your consciousness out of your body. And guess what? It's all taught through the mail. Now in my last videos I covered the Golden Dawn, Crowley's OTO, and BOTA, also known as Builders of the Adytum. But today we're looking at the largest Rosicrucian organization in the world, AMORC, also known as the Ancient and Mystical Order Rosicrucis. Now here's how the curriculum actually works. You receive weekly monographs in the mail, 8 to 20 page lessons that take about 90 minutes per week to complete. Now the system is designed as a lifelong path which takes years to master. You start as a neophyte in the atrium section, then progress through 12 temple degrees, which each build on the last. Now the second degree teaches you how to eliminate bad habits and tap into your subconscious through autosuggestion. The third explores the mysteries of death, rebirth, and the eternal nature of the soul. The seventh focuses on the aura and projecting your psychic body outside your physical form. And by the 9th degree, you're learning practical telepathy, telekinesis, and something they call vibroturgy, using vibrations to affect matter. The 11th degree is called the Illuminati section, and this is where you learn spiritual alchemy, cosmic consciousness, and how to attune with what they call your cosmic masters. After that comes the 12th degree and beyond, an entirely separate order called Ordo Summum Bonum with 9 additional degrees exploring the metaphysics of natural law. Each lesson includes practical exercises you perform at home. You set up a personal altar, perform meditation and visualization experiments, and practice the techniques throughout the week. The organization has 1,200 physical lodges in 86 countries where initiated members meet to perform rituals. Now, the AMRC operates from a 5-acre Egyptian-style temple complex in San Jose, California. They have a museum, a planetarium, and a library that's open to the public. And the organization has around 250,000 members worldwide, and it operates as a tax-exempt religious organization. So, yeah, you can join online, receive weekly lessons teaching you telekinesis and astral projection, and if you're dedicated enough, progress through 21 plus degrees of initiation over decades of your life. Now, if you want to learn more about modern day mystery schools like these, make sure to like the video, let me know what you think about AMRC in the comments below, and follow for more deep dives into esoteric groups like this. Until next time.
Tell me a time you ever saw Brooklyn flooded like this after a rainstorm. I am born and raised in Brooklyn. I have never saw Brooklyn look like this after a rainstorm. So you're telling me the rain came off the coast and did this to Brooklyn? Or are you telling me that our drainage system is just that bad that Brooklyn is flooded like this? I've been through Hurricane Sandy. We had some crazy storms in the 90s. We had some crazy storms in the 80s. And I ain't never seen Brooklyn look like this. We see what Hurricane Melissa did to Jamaica. But then if you go down that rabbit hole and you look up Vision 2030 Jamaica, you tell me what that means. So now you gotta ask yourself, what's going on in Brooklyn? Because I've never saw rain do that to Brooklyn, let alone a spot in Brooklyn that's not by water. And this is for entertainment purposes only. But this leads me back to Texas. Earlier this year, floods, rain, unexplainable rain, no warning, no nothing. So you're telling me that these people didn't know that Brooklyn was going to get this type of weather? And then I have to ask myself, what do they want with Brooklyn? What do they want with Brooklyn? I'm going to just say this. I've never seen Brooklyn look like that ever in my whole entire existence. Pay attention.
You know what? A lot of people want to attribute that to global warming, but I don't know. Bill Gates came out and said, global warming isn't as bad as we think. So, it leaves you up in arms, man. You're not really too sure what's going on, but speculation is at an all-time high.
Let's talk about how your skin varies in thickness depending on where you're looking. This is skin off the back. This is skin around your calves. And believe it or not, this is skin from an eyelid.
Weeks ago, I came across this massive lion's mane jelly on my morning walk. It had just washed up on the shore and it was actually still alive and actively contracting its bell, which was super cool to see. Lion's mane jellies are the world's largest jellyfish species. Their size can vary depending on location, with their bell reaching around 3 feet in diameter and their tentacles extending over 100 feet.
Every year they're getting better and better with these costumes. Or was that even a costume?
The course of his astral projections, he discovered that we're living in a control system that is managed by entities who work for a demiurge that's harvesting us for what he called loosh. He said that we're in a loosh farm, that humans are being deliberately subjected to conditions that create extreme emotional states. Extreme suffering, misery, fear, terror, ecstasy, extreme desire, pathological impulses, and these are all being used to basically generate a form of energy that they can harvest from the human soul, including after death, where they basically juice souls for the loosh.
You know, I've heard a few different versions of what he just said, and it's so believable when you just look around and see what's going on in this lifetime. It's just a lot of unbelievable pain, suffering, happiness, joy. You know, they're extremes of everything. Some of it unnecessary, some of it self-inflicted. I don't know. There's something to that. There's definitely something to that.
We hadn't no sooner turned down the road than my brother, and he said, well, don't look. But there's something there beside your window. I thought he was messing with me. Those wings, they were big like a bird. Those eyes, that was something you could not miss. So big and so red. I tell everybody, I haven't seen a red like that to this day. I was about 14 and I saw this Mothman that hit Point Pleasant and busted it wide open to this day.
The Mothman story started here in Point Pleasant in November of 1966. You had two young couples riding around on the outskirts of town in what was called the TNT area. That was an old ammunitions depot back in World War II. When the war ended, they just left all the buildings and the structures. They saw what they thought was just a person standing in the road, and then they saw the wingspan come out. It was flying behind the car. They were hitting speeds of about 85, 90 miles an hour. The more people started reporting these different sightings, the elementary schools wouldn't let the kids out for a while because they thought, whatever, if it was a bird big enough to come and pick up a kid, there were really no solid answers. You had over 100 reported sightings within the next 2 years.
My brother, he was going to go try to find that thing because he decided he was going to go prove it was fake. It jumped up on top of the hood and just crouched there. If that windshield wasn't there, all I had to do was reach out and I could touch him, or he could have reached in and touched us. It just went off like that and then gone.
People would like an answer to what happened. There's thousands who come to Point Pleasant every year to go to the TNT area to look for Mothman.
People see amazing and weird things some people do in their life, and others want to some kind of bad and never do. So I guess that's why they want to hear the story.
Now that's my first time hearing about a Mothman. Sounds pretty terrifying. If you've ever heard or ran into anything like that, definitely drop it in the comments. I'd be interested in hearing about it.
Well, here it is, you guys. The scariest bridge and scariest boat dock in all of Florida. You want to know why? It's because there are thousands of alligators out here, you guys. Look at this. No one is out here boating, fishing, tubing, kayaking, nothing, you guys. It's a beautiful day. Look at that. No one is here, you guys. You want to know why? Because you can see right over here, this is brackish water. That means even bull sharks have been found in water like this. This is right here, this bridge. Everyone knows it, but in case you haven't heard, I want to be the first one to tell you. Right over here, I believe, is the scariest because on either side, there's no one, and this place is massive, you guys. There's no one out here. Look at that sunset too. It's a beautiful sunset and there's no one out here. Why? Because there are thousands of alligators, monkeys, could be bull sharks. There are bull sharks in Florida lakes like this. And there are even monkeys and bears, you guys. Okay, see ya.
There's a bell that's been ringing nonstop for nearly 200 years and nobody knows how. It's called the Oxford Electric Bell. And it's been going since the 1800s, right? So inside Oxford University, there's this little glass dome with two bells inside it, and between them a tiny little metal ball swings back and forth, tapping each bell over and over. And the crazy part, it's powered by two mysterious batteries that have never been replaced, and it's been ringing since around 1840. That's over 10 billion rings with no recharging, no maintenance. Nobody even knows exactly what those batteries are made of because no one dares to open it. They don't want to risk stopping the experiment, right? And some people think that it's just like an old science experiment that happened to last this long, but other people really think that we don't fully understand energy. And here's the weirdest part, no one knows when it's going to finally stop. And maybe it'll keep ringing long after we're gone. Maybe it's going to ring so long that when it does stop, no one's going to be around to hear it.
This is the deepest swimming pool in the world. It's located in Dubai and is 60 meters deep and 3.7 million gallons of fresh water. Inside of the pool, it was designed to resemble an entire sunken city with furnished rooms and even sunken cars. You can get in a workout, play chess, or even play pool. Even Will Smith had to check it out.
Like right in front of him, and I pull my hair to the side and I show my spinal cord. Normally he will pounce on the because that is where it is easiest to kill me.
You know, it definitely was wrong of her to do that. And it kind of seemed like that tiger was cursing her out. You know what I'm saying? He was like, one day this fence ain't going to be here to save you.
My name is Patrick Agnew. I have a doctorate in clinical psychology, and I am a diagnosed sociopath. People like to believe that sociopaths are one-dimensional serial killers because, in a way, if every sociopath looks like that, then sociopaths would be easy to spot. You won't have to worry whether you're married to one or living next door to one or having birthed one. When the truth is, most sociopaths resemble normal people. It's a really complex and layered question because the term sociopath is no longer used clinically. But if you're looking at it through that lens, that the classic sociopath is someone who struggles to understand the learned social emotions. So everyone has like a sort of hardwired set of emotions. These are the inherent emotions: happiness, sadness, etc. But there is another set of emotions that are learned. These are things like empathy, compassion, shame, remorse. We are taught these things mostly through modeling by caregivers. Sociopaths struggle to learn those emotions. There's been a lot of talk about the sociopathic mask and how sociopaths mask in order to charm and commit harm, when in reality, we mask for the same reasons that everyone else masks. It's easier to get through life if you are acting like everyone else does. I am masking right now. If I wasn't, I would have a much flatter affect. I wouldn't be as friendly perceiving, which isn't to say that I would be mean or that I would want to harm you or anyone in this studio, but I would probably be blinking less. I wouldn't be as engaging. But again, I think this is very relatable.
Nah, I can't relate. I mean, every emotion I show is exactly how I'm feeling. I don't have to fake it. You know what I mean? What she's saying is everything you see her doing, she had to fake it and put it on. That's creepy, man.
Who owns the entire music industry? Digital Nas has worked with Playboi Carti, Rich the Kid, ASAP Rocky, Lil Yachty. Did he witness these artists sell their soul? Playboi Carti's label Opium is signed to Interscope Records, owned by Universal Music Group. Bill Ackman is a shareholder, one of the billionaires that funded Charlie Kirk right before his life ended. Majority owned by Vincent Bolloré, who controls shipping ports in all of these African and Asian countries. He's the grandson of Nicole Goldschmidt from the Rothschild family. His grandmother was a Rothschild that helped Israel get its first weapons, allegedly. Rich the Kid is signed to Republic Records, which is also owned by UMG, owned by the same people. Another owner of UMG is Tencent. The most influential American at Tencent, David Waller-Stein. Lil Yachty and Katy Perry are signed to Capitol Records. UMG owns Capitol Records. Digital Nas worked with ASAP Rocky, owned by Sony Records. Sony Records owns Britney Spears, Beyonce, Central C, Lil Nas X, and all these people you see on screen right now. Their CEO is Robert Strenger, who won the United Jewish Appeal Award. Ye worked with Digital Nas on bangers like Vultures, Donda 2. Guess what everyone in the music industry has in common? Digital Nas is going to tell me tomorrow.
In July of 2014, a teenager named Ashik, who was living in this small town in India, reached up and he felt his very swollen and sore jaw. Now, this had been going on for a year, but his family didn't have the money for him to go to the dentist. But today, the pain was unbearable, and so he told his dad, we gotta go. When they got to the dentist's office, the dentist looked inside of Ashik's mouth and they saw something strange, and so they got out a pick and a hammer, and they hammered that pick into Ashik's jawline. And at some point, the dentist kind of cracked through something, and when they did, the dentist was very surprised. They reached in and pulled something out, and then they just kept on digging away into Ashik's jawline. Finally, after like 7 hours, the dentist stopped, and they were able to tell Ashik what was going on. Well, Ashik had a tumor in the right side of his jaw that caused his body to grow too many teeth. In total, the dentist removed 232 extra teeth, a world record.
Hey, poor guy was really going through it. Like, when he said he was in pain, he really meant that.
Fun fact of the day. There is an inaccessible 70-foot tunnel behind Lincoln's Head in Mount Rushmore.
It's a mural, and it's called the Setiles.
Yeah.
Now it's a whole bunch of rich people.
Oh, I've never seen this.
And it's a weird art painting depicting these rich people doing weird things, but Setile actually is elites backwards.
Whoa.
That's why it's called Setiles.
Setiles?
Yeah,
Oh
man. One of the people that's in the picture not only is Jeffrey Epstein, weirdly enough, weirdly enough, in a UFO.
What?
That's gonna be really weird later. I'm gonna explain why.
Yeah.
But Ghislaine Maxwell's here depicted as a dragon.
What the fuck?
Biting a child in half. And then there's also an antenna showing the UFO with Jeffrey Epstein's head on it. And a bunch of these people in the picture or in the mural are they're identified as like very rich and powerful elites.
Yeah.
Because that's why it's literally called Setiles. Backwards is elites. Bro.
Hey, why a lot of those elites look like they were burning in hell, like under the ground? Explain that.
Have you heard of the catfish effect?
How dangerous are truly those jungles? Average man gets dropped in the jungle.
You're dead.
Really?
You're dead.
Really?
If you get dropped far enough into the jungle, you're dead.
What's killing you first?
You'll get lost. You get turned around in the Amazon. Everything looks the same. It's not like here where you have big trees and small trees and landmarks. In the Amazon, everything looks the same. And everything wants to eat you. I mean, even the bees are carnivorous in the Amazon.
What?
The bees were one of the worst torments for me. And I enjoyed being in the Amazon, by the way. I was there by choice. But mosquitoes were always a nuisance. The bees were worse because I would have like a cut on my arm. I'd always have some open wound. I had this open wound on my arm. And during the day...
DARPA is something most Americans have never heard of. It's the biggest collection of geniuses anywhere in government. These are the guys that are creating not the next generation of technology, but 3 generations from now. If there are flying saucers and they're not little green men from outer space, DARPA made them. Seriously. This always struck me as very funny. DARPA's work is so classified that one DARPA scientist sitting next to another DARPA scientist has no idea what the other guy's working on. It's too highly classified. I mean, even at the CIA, we weren't cleared.
Not even at your position?
I had to get a Q clearance once because I had to go to the Department of Energy to talk about a nuclear issue. Nobody liked the fact that I had the clearance, and I ended up having the clearance just for 1 day, and then they revoked it. But that's how DARPA is too. This is another thing that always struck me as funny. There's a DARPA website, and they have pictures of scientists like, working together all in bliss. These are just generic pictures of random people you pull off the internet. These aren't DARPA people that are in the pictures. You can't show the DARPA people. They're too highly cleared.
You notice how they're never spoke about in the media. Nobody ever mentions them in public. They're very secretive. That makes a lot of sense because you don't know where this technology is coming from, and it has to come from somewhere.
You know the singer Diana Ross?
Yeah.
She did the cover of Ain't No Mountain High Enough in 1967.
Good song.
Yeah, great song, right? After she did this song, all the way in 2004, because she was married at the time, to this guy. What are the freaking odds of this? Her husband so happened to be from a mountain accident.
Wow.
Her husband in 2004 was climbing a mountain in South Africa, and his equipment ended up loosening, and he fell to his...
Are you ready to test your intuition today?
So behind this card, there's a fruit, okay? I'm gonna walk you through an exercise to open up your awareness so that you can really place yourself in a moment and be present with yourself, okay? If you don't have time to do this exercise now, make sure you save it for later. Remember to pay attention how the information comes in for you, because this is gonna tell you which clair ability you are using. So behind this card, there is a fruit, okay? I want you to really focus in on what this fruit is. So we're gonna do a short breathing exercise, but I'm gonna walk you through a scenario. So I want you to keep your eyes closed, okay? I want you to close your eyes now, okay? As you close your eyes, I want you to imagine yourself stepping into a garden. As you step into this garden, you realize there's so many different fruits surrounding you. As you're walking through this garden, there's this one fruit that is grabbing your attention. I want you to reach your hand out and I want you to grab this fruit. Now look at the fruit in your hand. What color is this fruit? What does it feel like as you're holding it? Does this fruit feel familiar to you? I want you to open up your eyes now, okay? And I want you to remember to trust what you receive, okay? You ready? There are grapes. Now, were you able to pick up on the fruit? Were you able to pick up just on the color? So let me know how you got your answer. Let me know how you did.
First thing that popped in my mind was a blood orange. You know what I'm saying? I want one of those right now, as a matter of fact. I might have to go ahead to the grocery store. Let me know what you got. Let me know what you got, because that was an interesting one, definitely. Well, you guys, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for stopping by, man, and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button. Join the iTrack fam, man. We are just chilling and learning all kinds of cool stuff over here. And I will definitely catch you on the next one.